So there's a few parts of a circle that I really want us to be comfortable with. That's the radius, that's the diameter, that's the circumference, and the area. But we're just talking about the radius, diameter, and circumference right now. So a lot of us are still having problems with what is a radius. Well, a radius is half the diameter. And I think you've talked about radius and diameter in some of your lower grades. So again, let's just review. A radius is a line segment that goes from the center of your circle to the edge of your circle. It's a line segment. All right, a diameter is another line segment. It goes from one edge of your circle to the other edge of your circle through the middle. So your diameter is equal to 2 of your radii, and a radius is equal to half of your diameter. And today we're going to talk more about circumference, that is the distance around a circle. So yesterday I asked you guys to make a chart of the diameter and circumference of 4 different objects. Then I asked you to plot them, those points, on a graph and tell me what you noticed about those points. And most of you, a lot of you, came up with really great observations that this relationship between the circumference and diameter was proportional, and it is proportional. If you notice that these points, they're not perfect, but they will form a straight line and they will go through the origin. And those were some of our definitions of proportional earlier in the year. They have equal ratios, and we'll look more at that here in a second when we look at our constant proportionality. So then I ask you guys to come up with the ratio of the circumference to the diameter. And I ask you to round to the nearest tenth, and I ask you to tell me what you noticed. Well, I didn't round to the nearest tenth. I kept it going to the thousandths and then the 10,000ths place. But what you'll notice is that the ratio of the circumference to the diameter, it's pretty close. It's the same. And it's actually pi, 3.1415 on forever and ever and ever. So you ask, Ms. Prince, why didn't you get 3.1415? Well, keep in mind, what tool was I using? I was using a tape measure. I can only be as precise as my tool. So based off the tool that I was using, I think we did a pretty good job. But if we used a more precise tool, it would be 3.1415. So these ratios, doesn't matter whether my units were centimeters or inches, that ratio is 3.14 or pi. All right, let's keep going. So let's take a look at this video. Let's see if we can tell that ratio for every 3 diameters, maybe a little bit more than 3 diameters, 3.14 diameters is equal to a circumference. So keep that in mind while we're watching this video. Oops, let's make it bigger. So there's 1 diameter. Okay, we've got 2 diameters. So a little more than 3 diameters are going to make up the circumference of a circle. So let's write a formula for that. See if we can do that. And that's what I asked you to do on slide 15. I asked you to write an equation. Can you find that relationship between the circumference and the diameter? I'm so used to pressing the comment button. Let me press the text button. So we know that constant of proportionality is 3.14, so we can write an equation, y equals 3.14 times x. So y, if you go back and look at this coordinate plane, we know that y was our circumference, so we can substitute c in for y. So c equals, we know that 3.14 is pi, so let's go to our special characters. And pi is spelled P-I, not P-I-E. The pie we eat is P-I-E. This is just pi. Let's see, I like this one. This one looks pretty good. So circumference is equal to pi times, and in our graph, on our coordinate plane, our x-coordinate was diameter. So we're going to substitute a d in for diameter. Let me just remind you that c is our circumference. Spelled that wrong. D is diameter. Good thing we have smart computers. All right, now I want to give you a couple more so you're okay with finding the diameter if you're given the radius and finding the radius if you're given the diameter. So diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. So we need to include r being the radius. And the radius is equal to 1/2 the diameter, or you can write d divided by 2, I don't care. So we can also write the formula for circumference in terms of the radius. So let's do that real quick. So circumference is equal to pi times the diameter. Well, we know that the diameter is the same as 2 times the radius, so times 2r. And we'll clean that up a little bit. We want our coefficient 2 in front of our variables. So circumference is equal to 2 times pi times r. So these are the important formulas you need to know to find the circumference of a circle in terms of the radius, in terms of the diameter, and there are formulas for diameter and radius.